Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Commander's Fort, where we talk about Magic, Commander, and anything else while we try and drag my mental health back into what's supposed to be a normal area. Now, today, I don't really have a whole lot I want to talk about, so I do want to mention the deck that I have built for our league that we're starting. But let's start with what is our league. So, if you're familiar with a boxing league, it's where you buy a box of cards and you build a commander deck with that box. We allow people to choose whatever box they want, so it has to be reasonable, so typically we put a limit on it to, like, within the last 8 sets, and then anything from that point forward is good to add to it throughout the year. I went with March of the Machine just because I knew that would give me just a density of legendary creatures to choose from. And that was, well, true. We did institute one new change this year, which is you can only play the same commander so many times. So, as I believe we settled on 4 because we're aiming for 4 games a month, split up between typically 2 weeks. So, the commander that I'm going to talk about now, I can only play 4 times this year, whether that means I switch it up, like, next week or whatever we play next, I play a different deck, or say after I play this one 4 times, I have to find a commander in this color set that could take its place. So, without too much more to talk about, let's talk about Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger. I decided to go with this one mostly because it was the first thing that stood out to me. So it's a red and a black for a 6/6 Elder Giant. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it escaped. Whenever Kroxa enters the battlefield or attacks, each opponent discards a card, then each opponent who didn't discard a non-land card this way loses 3 life. And it has escape for black, black, red, red, and exile 5 other cards from your graveyard. So I realized as I was going through the box that there's just a lot of good sacrifice stuff that cares about sacrificing stuff and getting stuff into our graveyard. So even things like Gloomfang Mauler, which is 5 black black for a 5/5 nightmare, but it has swamp cycling for 2. So at the very least it gets me a swamp and then fills my graveyard. And on the other end it has backup 2 and menace. We also pulled Jury, Master of the Review, which is a black-red 1/1 human shaman. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Jury, and when Jury dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. And in addition to the Gloomfang Mauler, we also have the Furnace Host Charger, which is 5 and a red for a 5/5 Phyrexian Giant with haste, but it also has Mountain Cycling for 2. And in addition to just all of the black-red, like, removal spells that I could throw in there to help fill my graveyard, I just have a abundance of things that either can sacrifice themselves or sacrifice other things. Like, Aki Scrap Chomper, it's a single red for a 1/1 Phyrexian Goblin. You can pay 1 in a red to sacrifice an artifact or land to draw a card. Voldarian Thrillseeker is 2 in a red for a 1/1 Vampire Warrior with backup 2, but its backup ability is pay 1, sacrifice this creature, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So the way backup works is you put the counters on a creature. You can put it on this creature, but it's kind of a waste that way. You put it on another creature and they gain the ability. So that one at a later date can sacrifice itself, but say you just want to get a quick bit of damage in, on turn 4, you play this, you put 2 counters on your 2-drop. You can attack somebody who doesn't have any blockers, and then after attacks you can pay 1, sacrifice the creature you put the counters on, and then dome somebody in the face, right? Stormclaw Rager is 1 black-red for an Ogre Warrior 2/2. You can pay 1, sacrifice another creature or artifact to put a 1/1 counter on the Rager and draw a card. Activate only as a sorcery. Dreg Recycler is 1 and a black for a 2/2 Phyrexian Beast that says tap, sacrifice an artifact or creature. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. It keeps going. There's a lot of them. I think the only other one of those I actually want to touch on is that I pulled Ayara, Widow of the Realm, which is 1 black for a 3/3 Elf Noble. It has the ability to tap, sacrifice another creature or artifact. She deals X damage to target opponent or battle, and you gain X life where X is a sacrificed permanent mana value. And she has Transform for 5 and a Phyrexian red. And she turns into Ayara Furnace Queen, which is a 4/4 Phyrexian Elf Noble. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, return up to 1 target artifact or creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield that gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. The thing I like about picking to go black-red over a lot of the other colors I have is I have essentially 3 commanders that kind of sort of fit into this theme between Kroxa, Ayara, and Jury. And, I got the couple of mill spells, like Breach the Multiverse, which is 5 black. For sorcery, each player mills 10 cards. Then for each player, you choose a creature or planeswalker card in that player's graveyard, put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. Then each creature you control becomes a Phyrexian in addition to its other types. And then we just have the best creature to sacrifice and exile from a graveyard. Squee the Immortal. 1 red for a 2/1 goblin. You may cast Squee the Immortal from your graveyard or from exile. And clearly I don't want to do like the full deck here. Just kind of want to get a feel for it, and I think I've adequately done that. So I will take a quick break here, and then when I get back, we're going to talk about some pirates. Some black-red pirates. I'll be right back. Hey, I just want to take a minute to tell you about my Patreon. I know times are hard for everybody, and I know it isn't easy to shuffle around bills and stuff. Believe me, I know that. But if you would like to help support the podcast and me, you can find the links to my Patreon in my link tree, which is always put into the description of either the video or the audio, wherever you're listening to it. It would really mean the world to me. Honestly, I'm just struggling to make ends meet most weeks. But that's it. That's all. If you want to help, the links will be where you can find them. And welcome back. Now, let's talk about pirates. And we're not going to go to the way back when there was pirates, but we're going to go back to original Ixalan. One of my biggest things with this is the pirates were in 3 colors. They were in Grixis. And we had mono red legendary pirates, we had red blue legendary pirates, and we had Grixis legendary pirate. Yeah, only the one. But still. There were no black-red legendary pirates. Technically speaking, there still isn't any black-red legendary pirates. But there was always like this core of black and black-red pirates that made me just want to, make a black-red pirate deck. With things like Daring Buccaneer. It's a single red for a 2/2. It's a human pirate as an additional casting cost, you reveal pirate or you pay extra mana. And is that game breaking? No. But, neither is the Forerunner of the Coalition, which is 2 and a black for a 2/2 human pirate. And when the Forerunner enters the battlefield, you search your library for a pirate card, reveal it, shuffle your library, and put the card on top of it. And then whenever a pirate enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life. So, is it good? I don't know. The main 3 cards that I kind of built this idea off of were Captain Lannery Storm, which is 2 in a red for a 2/2 human pirate with haste. Whenever she attacks, create a treasure token, and whenever you sacrifice a treasure, she gets +1/+0 to end a turn. Karizov Skyship Raider is 1 in a red for a 1/3 human pirate with first strike and menace, and whenever she attacks, create a 2/1 legendary red monkey creature token named Ragavan that's tapped and attacking. Exile the token and end a combat. To this day, I'm still sad that the monkey itself was not a pirate, but, And Dire Fleet Neckbreaker, which is 2 black-red for a 3/2 orc pirate. And attacking pirates you control get +2/+0. So back when I was playing Standard, this was a deck that I built, and it was just neckbreakers and cheap pirates. And did I do anything nasty or amazing with it? No, but it did its fair share back in the day, and that was like right before I stopped playing Standard. So what do we have now that changed my ability to make said black-red pirate list in the way I wanted to? Well, we now have a black pirate with partner. Francisco Foul Marauder is 1 and a black for a 0/1 bird pirate. It has flying. It cannot block. But whenever 1 or more pirates you control deal damage to a player, Francisco explores. And it has partner. And I was like, well, if this wants us to hit people, there's a red pirate with partner that also wants us to hit people. And that's Breaches, Brazen Plunderer, which is 3 in red for a 3/3 goblin pirate with menace. And whenever 1 or more pirates you control deal damage to an opponent, exile the top card of each of those opponents' libraries. You may play those cards this turn, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. Again, also has partner. Alright, now to start off with creatures, we're actually going to talk about a couple of things that are not pirates. The first one being Adaptive Automaton. 3 mana, 2/2 construct. When it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. It is the chosen type in addition to its other types, and other creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. So, it's a 2/2 that copies our pirates and makes our pirates bigger. The next one is much the same. It is Metallic Mimic. 2 mana for a 2/1 shapeshifter. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Metallic Mimic is the chosen type in addition to its other types, and when each other creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Now, moving into the actual pirates that are going to be in the deck, we have, well, the things that are going to make it more of an aggro deck than anything else. Dire Fleet Ravager is 3 black for a 4/4 orc pirate wizard with menace and death touch. When it enters the battlefield, each player loses 1/3 of their life rounded up. Captivating Crew is 3 in a red for a 4/3 human pirate that can pay 3 in a red to gain control of target creature and opponent controls until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn, activate only as a sorcery. In that same vein, we have Coercive Recruiter, which is 4 in a red for a 4/3 orc pirate. Whenever Coercive Recruiter or another pirate enters the battlefield under your control, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. Until end of turn, it gains haste and becomes a pirate in addition to its other types. And the last true pirate I want to talk about here is Port Razor. 3 red for a 4/4 Orc Pirate. When it deals combat damage to a player, untap each creature you control after this combat phase. There's an additional combat phase. And Port Razor can't attack a player it has already attacked this turn. Now, the way we turn that ability essentially off is we pair it with a Helm of the Host, which is a 4-mana equipment. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of the equipped creature, except the token isn't legendary. If the equipped creature is legendary, that token gets haste, equipped for 5. The amount of games that I have ended with multiple Port Razors back when I was running Rionia, it's a nutty card. Oh, I was mistaken. I actually have a couple more pirates I want to talk about. The first one's a new one. It's called Skeleton Crew. 3 and a black for a 3/3 skeleton pirate. Each other creature you control that's a skeleton or pirate gets +1/+1. Whenever one or more creature cards leave your graveyard, create a 2/2 black skeleton pirate creature token. It does specify that this ability triggers only from the battlefield, so with its ability to pay 5 and a black and return Skeleton Crew from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, will not trigger it. And finally, we have our Fathom Fleet Captain. 1 and a black for a 2/1 human pirate with menace. And whenever he attacks, if you control another non-token pirate, you can pay 2. If you do, you create a 2/2 black pirate creature token with menace. Now, I just want to go through some of the things that are going to help but aren't necessarily tied to just pirates. And first up, we have our Horn of the Mark. 2 mana, legendary artifact. Whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, that's just there to help us refill our hand, because as we all know, aggro decks do tend to need to do that. Next up, we have Vanquisher's Banner, 5 mana artifact. When it enters, choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type get +1/+1, and whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, draw a card. Icon of Ancestry is a 3 mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type get +1/+1. You can pay 3 and tap it to look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card of the chosen type from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And finally, we have Shared Animosity, 2 and a red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 till end of turn for each other attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. I do have to mention Revel in Riches because it wouldn't be a pirate deck without it. It's 4 and a black for an enchantment. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, create a colorless treasure artifact token with tap to sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more treasures, you win the game. This is not a turbo treasures deck. This is occasionally I'll make some treasures and then use them deck. And finally, we will round out this deck with a Blade of Selves. 2 mana equipment. The equipped creature has Myriad and equip for 4. Both of our commanders want us to hit multiple players. Slapping a Blade of Selves on something means we get to attack each player. So even, stuff and things. I do think I'm going to call it there. I do have stuff I need to get done this weekend. So, with that, I bid thee adieu, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening. All of my links can be found in my link tree in the description below. I would like to thank Ian Foss and Cody Mulpey of the band The Crypt for allowing me to use music for my opening and ending, along with Nate and Erica Jacobs for making my original logo. And I would also like to thank Christina
McNichol for creating my new logo. And I'll see you next time.